can you go soaring into the sky on the wings of a manta ray? Be transported to the icy adventures of the Arctic, or experience the playful spirit of the sea. For animals, adventure, up-close interactions.
In the wild, it's a very matriarchal society. Male whales are kept at the perimeter. In captivity, the animals are squeezed into very close proximity. Tilikum, the poor guy is so large, he couldn't get away because he just is not as mobile relative to the smaller and more agile females.
The normalization of animal captivity was ingrained in the minds of many at a very young age without question. As a result, SeaWorld theme park remained popular and loved as the business thrived on the use of marine animals as their main source of entertainment. A few animals including dolphins, beluga whales, and orcas, also known as killer whales. However, one of the park's most popular events was the Orca Show, which according to SeaWorld's website, and I quote, invites you to connect in an inspiring new way with the ocean's most powerful predator. Discover the importance of play for orcas and dive deeper into their masterful hunting techniques. Learn about SeaWorld's commitment for the killer whales in our care, end quote. Thus claiming to allow the audience to create a bond with the orcas while performing a series of tricks throughout the show under the supervision of trainers. At first glance, many may fail to see the issue with SeaWorld theme parks. However, let's analyze what the animal's daily routine at the theme park truly entails. According to Keto and Tilikum express the stress of orca captivity, and I quote, with little horizontal or vertical space in their enclosures, captive orcas swim only limited distances, with most spending many hours surface resting, end quote. The animals are provided with an environment in which they must remain stagnant for long periods of time. The orcas are prohibited to swim in great lengths of water and are confined to their small spaces. The animals' lack of mobility can also pose a threat to their physical health. As seen in the image, the animals suffer from tooth damage. This is because, according to Keto and Tilikum express the stress of orca captivity, and I quote, it is common for separated whales to bite down on the horizontal metal bars or to jaw pop through the gates as they display aggression at each other, end quote. The animals must face and endure excruciating pain while pleasing the audience. These health-related issues continue to occur despite the medical resources SeaWorld claims to provide the animals. Many whales in captivity suffer from what is called dorsal collapse. According to Keto and Tilikum express the stress of orca captivity, and I quote, dorsal collapse is a phenomenon nearly exclusive to captivity, as it is rarely seen in wild orcas. 100% of adult captive male dorsal fins have succumbed to gravity versus approximately 1% of free-ranging orcas, end quote. This is due to the lack of space and depth that their tanks fail to provide. Whales in the wild have the ability to swim with no limitations and for long periods of time. With many aggressive orcas that consume one tank, injuries are bound to happen because of the tension that is built up since they are kept in confinement. Quote, according to Keto and Tilikum expressed the stress of orca captivity, and I quote, in one particular brutal example, Kendu V, a female orca at SeaWorld, bled to death after 12 years. Over the next 45 minutes, and in view of the public, she slowly bled out, spouting blood from her blowhole until she died, end quote. An orca bled to death because of the aggression of another orca, leaving her to die in front of the public at just 11 years old, decades under the normal life expectancy. Those who took on the role in watching and providing the animals were SeaWorld trainers, a career wanted by many, until tragedy struck, which resulted in multiple deaths. According to Keto and Tilikum, I quote, on Christmas Eve, trainer Alex Martinez was killed by male captive bred orca named Keto. 2 months later, trainer Don Brownshue was killed by Tilikum, an animal involved with 2 previous human fatalities. Neither death was accidental, end quote. Both trainers believed that they shared an unbreakable bond with the orca until they figured out the mild animal could not be controlled and treated similar to a house pet. Sadly, their lack of awareness resulted in their deaths. It is evident that SeaWorld is unfit to care for these wild animals and is using them for business purposes only. These wild animals cannot thrive of what this theme park is able to provide, which is tanks, a poor diet, and isolation. These wild animals belong in the ocean in their natural habitat. Quote, according to orcas, killer whales are the largest dolphin species, and I quote, they are at the top of the food chain and have very diverse diets, feasting on fish, penguins, and marine mammals such as seals, sea lions, and even whales, employing teeth that can be 4 inches long. In the wild, orcas live in tight-knit family groups that share sophisticated, unique culture that is passed down through generations. Whether they're born in the wild or in captivity, all orcas have the same initiative drive to swim far and dive deep. End quote. The whale's needs are specific and they should not be neglected due to people's selfishness that only derives them from living up to their full lifespan of 50 years. Families of orcas are being separated even with no signs of needing rescue. Help us put an end to these ignorant and cruel captures.
You can do something to ensure these orcas' safety by clicking on the links below and seeing how you can get involved.